There we go. Okay, now we're back on. Everything works. So, super excited. The entire time I was thinking about, I was like, should I sing? I don't know what the heck to do. So I'm super excited about today and today's Facebook Live chat. It has been a really long time since I've been here. One of the reasons why haven't been here is I was actually really sick. I went to plenty of hospital visits. They found out that I had some things going on with my health, so I had to take a rest. And then the other reason why I had taken a break from the Facebook Live chats and everything was because I had a couple of people that passed away in my life, and so I really had to look inward and take my time and relax. But every time I think about this entire talk, I keep thinking about that song that's from Lauryn Hill, or actually the Fugees, where they're saying like, ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. And so every time I think about that song, I keep thinking, oh crap, that's actually kind of how fear comes in, and that's kind of how like stress comes in. So every time I think about the Fugees and I think about that song, I think about how we really live in a really stressful time, and every single person is quote unquote Trumpifying their trauma. Like, I have never been in a situation, or I've never been in a space where it doesn't matter who you talk to, people are naturally stressed and they have no clue why they're stressed. And so today, for today's talk, I'm going to talk about a couple of things, but the biggest goal is to talk about meditation and why it's so important, and then specifically how meditation can help every personality type. Because I think for some reason everyone thinks that if you are a certain personality type, you can meditate. And there's also very different ways of meditating, and there's also a lot of fun tips and tricks, and it's not always just meditation for you don't always have to like sit and cross your legs and whatnot. Anyways, I'm super excited. I had the tea. I'm just really excited. But anyways, so I can tell you a little bit about how I started meditating and why I started meditating. So oddly, I was at UC Berkeley, and I wanted to punch everything and everybody. And because I had so much stress, and because I was really angry and I wasn't happy with my life, it turns out that I was suffering from depression. And it turns out that not only was I suffering from depression, I had a lot of anxiety attacks, as do most millennials. I mean, we have the highest form of anxiety and depression right now. So I didn't really know what was going on, but I decided, because there was a free credit, that I should take the class. I kid you not, I did not take the meditation class seriously, and I fell asleep every single time my teacher would talk. Like, literally, as soon as when he started talking, I would go straight to sleep. And the reason why, or the rationale behind that, was because I didn't know what meditation was. I thought it was different from prayer. I thought it was different from things that I was used to and the things that I grew up with. So I just kind of like shut it down. But I can remember very vividly when I had started trying to meditate in that class. The entire time I had a song in my head, and it's a very weird song, but I kept hearing this song that was written by Phil Collins. It was called Easy Lover, and it was like my mantra, which became really weird, but that was like the only way that I could focus. So when you're thinking about your personality type, a lot of people think that they don't have the time to meditate. They don't know what to do. This is just like a huff and fluff thing. But the reality is that there are lots and lots of people that benefit from meditation. It is scientifically proven to reduce stress. It's scientifically proven to reduce anxiety. There was just a recent study done in Belgium where they had students practice mindfulness, and the students that practice mindfulness, 12% within the first 2 weeks, 12% of their anxiety had dropped. So there are lots of benefits to it. I just specifically want to talk about, depending on your personality type, what kind of works for you. And I will break that down. So I'm actually using Myers-Briggs, that's kind of like my bread and butter. Of course, I know like Enneagram, and of course I'm well aware of people that use a DISC personality type, and I'll actually have a specialist in the next 2 weeks come in and talk about DISC personality. Now, I actually have someone else, actually a former client, talk about Enneagram, so I'm really excited about that. But I really wanted to talk specifically about different personality types and what type of meditation can work for you. I mean, of course, there are great apps. You can use Headspace. You can go to church. You can go to a temple. There are different types of ways that you can look inward and tap into who you are and why. Specifically speaking for personality types, some prefer certain meditations over others. So I'll tell you a little about a couple of them. One is body tapping. So this is a really interesting way, but body tapping is, instead of you sitting down and meditating, sometimes we sit down for a long period of time, are really, really, really tired, and we have lost some of the circulation. So body tapping is just like a simple, like you're just constantly tapping your head back and forth. If you want to tap like your hands, you're constantly tapping. But this is actually a form of meditation. I know, I can't believe it. And it's actually really helpful for people that are like ISTJs, that people are really pragmatic and they're sitting down for long periods of time. The other one that I want to talk about, there's some new agey like woo-woo stuff, and it really just depends on you and what you believe in. But there are some meditations that really, really do work, and they fit for every personality type. So one, which is really crazy, but people forget that yoga is a form of meditation. And so I personally am an ENTJ, and so in the beginning, when I first started meditating and I first started looking inward, I did hot yoga because it was, one, I was focusing on the breath and I was focusing on being athletic, and then two, I felt much better. It just felt like that was where my flow state was. Hey, I think Maria's was on here, and there are a couple other people on here. But yeah, so I was really, really nervous about doing certain types of meditation because my family really didn't believe in it. So I kind of stuck with hot yoga. And there's yoga, Pilates, a lot of those are still forms of meditation, depending on who your teacher is. There are a couple of other ones which are really, really interesting when it comes to meditation. There is like Reiki, which a lot of people do. I have a friend who actually is going to come on the Facebook Live talks, and you do a lot of like energetics, like working with people, making sure that you're tapping into their higher selves, and that is actually really, really helpful. I am talking very fast, and maybe it's because I'm really excited, and maybe it's because I haven't been on Facebook in a whole month, but I think I should probably slow it down because I'm talking too fast, and that's not what yoga's about. So, yoga in many ways, and then also meditation in many ways, is just a way for you to get out of your body. So most people typically get stressed often. We live in a tech-savvy world. We live in a world where we have to be connected. So it is really, really important to tap out and at least try to be quiet for a bit. So for me, yoga was really helpful. It was a great strategy for me to focus. For others, it could be Tai Chi. For others, it could be Reiki. For others, it could be Kundalini yoga. Sorry, there's also I have a lot of people are texting me for some reason today, right now. Yeah, there are lots of different ways that you can tap into who you are and like why it's important. Big picture, there's way, 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 way too many things that we have been fixating on. There's way too many things that we have taken advantage of, and that is time. And so when you're thinking about what to do next, and when you're thinking about what career should I do, or which partner should I be with, that is the perfect time to meditate. That is literally the perfect time to meditate. And I can tell you for a fact, I had a post recently and I talked about how being in a great relationship with someone really can change your thoughts. But the only reason why I was able to even do that, and the only reason why I was even able to look inward and think about a partner was because I took some time to myself and I actually meditated for a long period of time. And I didn't date for a solid, 2 years because I kept thinking I'm only focusing on the now, and the now is not good. Like, I was not happy, I was depressed, I was miserable. And so thinking about that when you want to meditate and you want to become a better version of yourself, that's the first thing. That's the key. I couldn't tell you how many times I've spoken to entrepreneurs, and I've talked to tons of leaders in their field, and a lot of people meditate, and there are just so many positive things behind and positive effects to meditate. And you can also create a system for your meditation. Like, you don't have to meditate sitting in a corner. You don't have to sit and meditate at a class. You literally could just walk around. Like, there are some people and some personality types that focus on walking meditation. I think it's Kaiser Permanente that they have walking meetings where everybody's in flow and everybody's talking and everyone's walking, and that is their form of meditation. So that could actually be a way that you can tap into what's next. And I say this because, one, I talked to you about the Trumpifying your trauma, but two, you can get really, really clear on your goals and on what you want in relationships, what you want with your health, what you want with your mission, all of those things. If you actually sit down and you get quiet with your thoughts, which for some people it is very, very hard. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. It is sometimes very, very hard to think and not pay attention to what you're doing and just clear your mind. That is the way. And it doesn't matter, you could be saying a prayer, you could be saying some chant. I know Jerry Seinfeld has been meditating for probably, I think, 35 years, something crazy like that. But actually getting clear on what you want and getting clear on clearing your mind is going to help you. It's going to fundamentally change the way you think about things. There are so many ways that we can have to-do lists and tasks and goals and settings and routines, and all of that stuff is really great. But if you do not get clear on what you want, all of that past trauma, all that shit that you were dealing with before, it's going to come back up. And it's going to come back up in a worse way because you're focusing on other things, all your to-do lists. And the reality is you need to learn how to heal your heart, because there are too many things going on right now. There are too many political issues that are happening right now. There's so much discourse that's going on right now that you can't not take time out to figure out inner peace. And I know this is the first time I've been so frou, but I think this is the most important time because most people are now participating in activism. I had a friend who never was a person that took a lot of leadership roles, and now she is leading marches every weekend. And so when you think about that, I asked her why did she do that and how did she have the courage to do that. And she works at Google, so if you know who that is, I'm just putting a little plug out there. She started taking meditation classes and she became a mindfulness leader. And she said it was because she was able to take her time out and focus on her, which healed her body and healed her mindset, and fundamentally changed what she thought about herself, then she was able to actually create more change. I think oftentimes we get so swept up in the tribe, so swept up in the movement, so swept up in the boyfriend, so swept up in the job that we forget that none of that crap actually matters. I mean, none of that stuff matters. And so if you're thinking about that, that's the most important thing. Like taking your time out and meditating and praying or literally saying a mantra. Doing all of these things is going to change the way you think inwardly. It's going to change how you feel. It's going to change your body. It's going to give you health benefits. It's going to make you feel whole. And I mean, that's the only thing. That's the most important thing. And so, you know, I want to tailor it back to that song that I was singing earlier, where the Fugees, I love that song. But every time I think about that, I think about how people are with their consciousness and their thoughts. Like, I think about that song, that ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. And yeah, that's your fear. You have too many. Why do you have all these to-do lists? Why are you so stressed out? Well, the reality is you're stressed out because you're not actually looking inward and you're not taking the time out to be your true and full self. And I say that because that is something that I struggled with for a solid 28 years. I kept looking towards a man, and I kept looking towards a job, and I kept looking towards a relationship, and I kept looking towards all these outer things, and I started fixating on people, and I started gossiping about people, and I started talking all this trash about everybody because I wasn't happy with myself. And like, yes, I had been exposed to meditation before, but it wasn't until I had that mini crisis. It actually wasn't mini because it was piled up on old ancestral trauma, always telling myself, my family, in their mind telling themselves that they're not enough. All of that stuff built up. And it wasn't until I actually sat down and got focused and I got clear with what I wanted to do and how I wanted to accomplish those goals. And I didn't fixate on things that are bad. And I kid you not, I wrote an article recently in Medium of how I meditated for 3 months. And I literally had the worst 3 months. I had pink eye. I had like pink eye, a bladder infection. I was super sick. I had a UTI. I had lost a friend. She had took her life. I had lost a former student. She passed away. Like literally all of this stuff kept happening. My job at the time, which is no longer, like I was overworking. I worked 3 jobs. I had my business. I was doing another side hustle with consulting. I was doing something for 60 hours. I was working 100 hours a week. And it wasn't until I focused and actually started meditating that I realized that none of that crap is important. What we believe in is more important. How we feel about ourselves is more important than any job, than any business, than literally anything. You can't, what does that Bible verse say? Like, you can't love thy neighbor as thyself. There you go. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Yeah, if you don't love yourself, then you're not gonna love other people. You're not gonna fully be able to commit. You're not gonna fully be able to focus on your dreams and your goals. And so I really want to tailor it back to the whole conversation with your personality type, why you're here. So I'm just briefly going to talk about different personality types and what meditation works for them specifically. So if you're an ISTJ, the body tapping that I said earlier, where you're like constantly tapping your head, like that's actually one effective way. If you're an ISFJ, if you're into this, there's like this root chakra meditation where you're using a candle and it's all spiritual, but I'm not an ISFJ, but that is something that works for that personality type. If you are an INFJ, so you're a feeler and you have tons of, you make judging decisions, doing a meditation where you're actually like putting a rock or something in the middle of your head, it will help. because there's something about you being in your thoughts and you laying down, putting something over your head is soothing to you. All right. This is a really interesting one, and I think I have at least 50% of my closest friends are this type. It is an INTJ, and oddly, that's like it's the smallest percentage of Myers-Briggs, and they're all women. So I don't know why I have all these friends that are INTJs, but the most interesting thing about it is if you're an INTJ, bowing. So if you're actually just like putting your head down in like a ball-like position, you are actually meditating. Another thing is if you're an ISTP, magnetic meditation. I know that sounds really crazy. Just Google it. It is something that's really interesting. I don't want to get into all of the meditations and like which types work for what, but I just want to briefly talk about a couple more. So if you're an ESTJ, so you work with sensing and touches, and you also, lead with your thoughts, and you're more logical or rational, quote unquote. Kundalini yoga works. So like doing a lot of yoga that has to do with sensing and touching. If you're an ISFJ, Reiki. I've never done Reiki, but I've been told by most people that I know that are ISFJs, they love Reiki. So it's something that's warm and it's energetic, and because you are someone that is a lover of people and you want to feel loved, someone else working on you reciprocates that love. If you are ESFP, Qigong, which is a really interesting one, that is really helpful because you yourself are friendly and social, so you need something that's more of a social type meditation. I want to say this in terms of the meditating. It's okay if you fall asleep. I know that sounds really crazy, but I fall asleep all the time. The most important thing is honoring the fact that you are trying to make the effort to meditate. You are trying to make the effort to become your best version of yourself. That's all it takes. It's like when people start learning how to go, or people start going to the gym. Everyone always talks about they don't have enough time to go to the gym. They don't have enough time to work out. I'm like, I get it. I had the same issue, and I ended up eating hot Cheetos and Takis every single week because I was sad. I used to have Sonics and Tito's every single Friday. Like, I ended up putting on 25 pounds. And I'm also really short, so that's a lot of weight for someone that is petite. But the one thing that I did was before I started like my health kick, it was if I could just walk for 5 minutes, then I'm going to celebrate that. So if you're meditating, you got to think of it like that. If I just get up for 5 minutes and I tell myself that I'm meditating and I have tons of thoughts in my head, that's the first step. You can't just go hard when you're talking about meditation. You can't just go hard when you're talking about fitness either. I mean, I get some people they just go into it and they beach body themselves out. But when you're thinking about your life it's much longer than you perceive it. It's not about rushing and focusing on being the worst or being the best at meditating. There's no such thing as that. And I mean, I think that's what makes it so interesting and very unique, is that you don't have to be the best person to meditate. You can just be who you are. And that's actually that's the most important thing. You need to figure out what works for you. You need to figure out which friend groups you are. And I feel like I'm on this like podium. I feel like I'm at church right now. But really, really, really think about how meditation can help. And it doesn't have to be sitting in a corner. It could be, I'm going to walk and I'm going to meditate. And I'm going to walk in the forest. And when I walk in the forest, hey Nicole, and when I walk in the forest, then this is how I'm going to clear my thoughts. It's not, I have to sit down cross-legged. I have to sit down and say Om. It literally is you trying to clear your mind. And there's no way that you're actually going to clear your mind. I mean, every time I meditate, I always go back to that weird Phil Collins song. And that weird Phil Collins song always brings me back to however I'm feeling. I always sing Easy Lover because Easy Lover brings me back to like, okay, my thoughts, I'm going off the deep end. And so personality types, meditation can work for everyone, every single personality type, but you have to know what works best for you. Some people cannot sit. Some people have to walk. Some people are more of a touchers, so they need some form of like body tapping or using magnets to make sure that they're meditating, or using some emotional freedom technique if you're an ISFP, like actually focusing on clearing emotions. Some people use hypnotherapy, which that's one of the things that I'm really, that's my kick right now. I just log in and I do this hypnosis and I tap into all that mess that happened in the past and I try to heal that part. I tell myself, hey, I'm a beautiful individual, I'm loved, and I'm trying to heal my inner child. I know that sounds really woo-woo, but it works. So I have to tell myself, okay, like, I need to heal myself. I am healed, so if I'm healed, I can heal others. And I really, really think that's what you guys need to do when you're thinking about your future. Some of you guys, I really hope, some of you guys are thinking about running for office, or some of you guys are thinking about starting a business, or some of you are thinking about completely changing your careers. Think about meditating, because that's what's really going to clear your thoughts, and that's what's really going to help you with your health, wealth, relationships, your mission in life, your career. That is pretty much it. I've just got really excited. I felt like I just had a shock myself. The last thing that I want to talk about is, so my whole website and everything has been changed because I realized the thing that people were talking to me about and the thing that people wanted to know and learn about is, one, either being type A, which a lot of personality types can fall in that type A category, or two, just understanding your personality type. And that is why I switched everything. The website is all about learning about your personality type and how that can affect your learning, how that can affect your growth, and really, how that can affect your relationships. We live in the most connected society ever, where you can click and you can talk to your friend that's in Cambodia. That's for Tim out there. I'm pretty sure he's in Cambodia or Vietnam. One of my friends is out there. But all of that is really what drives me and what makes me feel whole. When I can understand someone's personality type, I can understand their environment, I can understand their past, because it really is about their past, their 10-year-old self, their 3-year-old self, which is very different from therapy, because therapy they want you to grieve over it. But we can understand your past, present, future, and that personality type, and not fixate on those weaknesses, not fixate on things that are overwhelming to you, and we really fixate on your strengths. And then we fixate on what pisses you off. That's something that's really important, because there are so many times, particularly if you're type A, where you want to punch a wall or you want to punch somebody. And it's not because you want to punch somebody because you can't stand them. It's either one, you want to show them the way, or two, you want to teach them how to do something, or you want to please them in some weird way. And so the quarter design is now all talks about personality types. And I say that because that's what my little team is working on, my MBA team is working on. That's what we're talking about now. And that is what the whole quarter design live talks are going to be about. It's going to be about you understanding your personality type. It's going to be about you understanding what things you fixate on. What are your passions? What things do you want to punch? There are so many things that people want to punch, and it's different for everybody. I can't stand being late to most things, but I have two friends that always love showing up late, and they're ESFPs and they kind of ISFPs, and they just want to go with the flow. And so me understanding their personality types and me understanding, okay, we have very different thought processes. And the reason why we have these different thought processes is because of our birthright or our previous environment. Both of them came from really big families. I came from being an only child. And so thinking about all of those personality types, thinking about why we do the things that we do. I know Tony Robbins says that all the time. Why do we do the things we do? A lot of it is because of our personality types. And yeah, some people feel like you can change, and you can in many ways. You can change when you're growing, you can change when you're stressed, but particularly thinking about how am I going to use my personality type to enhance this quarter? And how am I going to use my personality type to enhance the rest of my life? And how am I actually going to take my quarter design, which is looking at my health, wealth, relationships, and career, and how am I going to break that down that that tailors to my personality? I do not want to do some like yoga, I don't want to do Kundalini yoga. That's just not my jam. I tried it. I'm not really that type of person because I'm an ENTJ. If I knew how to play chess, I guarantee you I'd learn how to chess box. I move those pieces and then I box somebody at the end. For me, that's something that's really meditative. So this has been the quarter design. This has been the first talk. The whole goal for the website now and the community and the future tribe, which I'm really excited about, is for people to understand the personality types by using research-based strategies. So actually using and learning about your habit loops based off of research. You can become your most authentic self trying to figure out things trial and error, but sometimes you can actually just eliminate some of your problems and stress if, one, you either read a book, two, you ask a mentor, or three, you work with me. I mean, that's the thing. And this year, particularly because everybody's trumpifying their trauma. I love saying that. Everyone's trumpifying their trauma, all their trauma, their past life. Everything is brewing right now. For some reason, everyone is not healthy. And it makes a lot of sense. There's been so much going on, and I'm typically not a political person, but there's been so much stuff going on that it's affecting literally every person. So instead of like, yes, I will say go and protest. Yes, I will say go out there and help people, but you have to learn about yourself in order for you to really make some changes. So this has been Yishne with the quarter design. It's not when lifestyle design makes an identity crisis anymore. It is when research-driven strategies work for your personality type, so you can create your routines and systems, so you can get yourself out of a funk, so you can have the life that you love, have the business that you love, have the blog that you love. It really is about you getting clear on what works for you so you can make a crazy impact in the world, so you can make tons of change, so you can make and create a new version of yourself by actually going back to the things that make you you. So I am super excited because this next week, I've been talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people have been talking about network mapping. And so I will make sure that I put the link, but even if you see at the bottom of my regular Facebook page, I talk about having a network mapping session, which typically is, I'm doing a little special right now. And that is, and I've never been this salesy, but this is something that I truly, truly believe in. I really think that if you're trying to make a change and you want to find out your personality type, and not so much find out your personality type, find out what's the next step for you and your personality type and how you can change. We can sit down, we can have a conversation, 50 minutes. If you're on this call and you notice and you say that you mentioned this talk, then I will give you an additional network mapping session for free. So I will make sure that I put everything in the link, but more importantly, like, you are a beautiful individual. I know there's just one person that's watching me right now, and for some reason, I don't know. Now there's a couple of people that are watching, but you yourself are a beautiful and unique person. We all kind of have the same personality types, but you have a unique gift, literally, that everyone wants. And so it really is important, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, for you to get clear on that so you can actually help more people. It is not about sitting and making piles of money. Of course, making tons of money is great, but it really is about giving back to a community that loves you and giving back to a community that has helped you in the past, because you did not do it alone. So this has been Eugene with the Core to Design, where research-driven strategies help you heal your personality type and then also transform your future. I'll see you guys later. Bye.